ti për me bujta, për shari lujtë kure pre.
Both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right.
And then a header wide, and Barnes having a volley tipped over by Hennessy, but Burnley must improve. They trail 1-0. Half-time at Selhurst Park, and Crystal Palace lead 1-0 against Burnley, and a goal from Bakary Saka in the 21st minute got the job done as he thumped it in the bottom corner. Other chances have come to MacArthur, who was stopped on the line by me. Benteke has headed over, he's flicked towards the far post as well, and Saka has launched a volley wide of the far post. It could be 3 or 4 for Palace.
And there were other chances that came and went. Swansea played themselves into trouble a lot of the time. They did have one opportunity of note, a penalty claim against handball for Diame, not given. 0-0. Half-time at St James's.
With a couple of excellent saves. Half-time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from their right hand side, and Didi with the header. Courtois making an excellent save down low to his right. Fabregas and Schmeichel have gone head to head a couple of times, but it's Schmeichel who's come out on top with a couple of excellent saves. Half time, it's Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Somehow this game remains 0-0 at the break. Leicester have had the better of the opportunities. Chilwell creating a couple of chances early on for Okazaki and Vardy, but both their shots went wide. Best chance of the half for Leicester from a corner from... I'll leave that there for the moment. Just getting ready for kick-off in our game from Stamford Bridge. Chelsea against Leicester. As we say that, the referee Mike Jones does get the second half underway. Chelsea 0, Leicester 0 at the break. Open game, plenty of chances. Leicester looking the better side. Immediately they're onto the attack into the penalty area of Chelsea again. It's cleared away this time by Rudiger. Chelsea will have the chance to break in the opposite direction now as Fabregas has possession. Has to play the ball into Morata, who's taken by Maguire, who turns away in frustration, but certainly seemed to have caught the Chelsea striker on the back of the ankles. We'll check the replay. Yeah, straight to the back of him. Fairly clear to foul that one. Free kick to Chelsea. It's myself, Steve Pearson, and John Hogan bringing you this second half. And well, apart from goals, we've had just about everything so far.
Yeah, we have. It's been a good game, hasn't it? And there we were talking about it being 2018. They're a reminder of 1978, where the centre-back goes through the back of the striker. You know, first thing at the start of a half. But yeah, Leicester had been the better team, and you know, had I been a betting man anymore, I'm not sure whether I am or not. I probably would have had another, you know, reloaded and had another go on Leicester at half time, because I think they pretty obviously would have been the biggest price out of the three, and for me it's looked the most likely thing to happen that they score. I mean, weirdly enough, in the game, the later they leave it, the stronger we think that they possibly could get, because Chelsea played in midweek, and also less chance that Chelsea get to produce a rabbit out of a hat via the substitutes bench. And they've used up one sub already, because Christensen's on for Cahill. They're not the kind of subs that can get them back going again. They've only got two left, Willian and Pedro. You might even take off Azad or Bakayoko, somebody like that at some point. So it's not easy for Chelsea, this, but if Chelsea nick a goal, then you feel it might just take the wind out of Leicester's sails, and then that be that. But yeah, I think the value is certainly with Leicester City.
Yeah, certainly the better of the exchanges, better of the chances in the second half. You see an image of Willian warming up on the sideline. Quick run down the teams then, as the ball is out of play inside the Chelsea half. Courtois in goal for Chelsea, Azpilicueta, Rudiger and Christensen now the back three after he came on for the injured Gary Cahill, who pulled up with a hamstring strain midway through the first half. Midfield, Bakayoko, Kante and Fabregas, Alonso and Moses the two wing backs, and then Hazard and Morata the two players up front for Chelsea. Do you Leicester in a moment as they come forward now down the left hand side to Albrighton, puts a right footed cross into the box. He's headed away by Christensen, who tracked the run of Vardy, cleared away downfield. Maguire wins the header. The referee indicates it would have been a free kick, but Leicester in possession, so he allows play to continue, as he does again as Mahrez is brought down. And then a third challenge. You can take your pick for Mike Jones. He tried to keep the game going. 3 fouls by Chelsea, all inside their own half, and finally he gives the decision against Alonso for the challenge on Ndidi.
Some brilliant play before that from Leicester, wasn't there? And you know, they got the ball, used it quickly. Nobody was hanging around waiting too long for the goal for Marko Arnautovic. As a disinterested winger, he makes a good striker, doesn't he? Arnautovic playing better now. He's closer to goal, it would seem.
Yeah, West Ham now 2-1 up at Huddersfield. First goal of the second half flies in as Leicester look to get something out of this promising position. Wide on their right hand side, a couple of yards away from being level with the penalty area. Mahrez whips it in, it's missed at the near post, headed away by Chelsea, still not cleared as James tries to put it in. Eventually it's not clear for Hazard, who's got players through the centre if he can find them. Oh, Fabregas was looking round for somebody else to take possession of the ball there as it came across. He got Morata and Moses racing away downfield in front of him, but Fabregas just didn't take charge of the situation.
No, absolutely, it's a waste. Again, it looked tired. You know, they've had opportunities, but they've not made the best of them. You know, we know that Leicester are not faultless. They allow you a route back. Sometimes they overextend. But you know, Leicester have played some really attractive football today, and Chelsea have hardly strung 4 or 5 passes together. So that's the weird thing about today. But you know, Chelsea just need to come good once or twice, don't they? Grab a couple of goals, and we'd all forget how well the Foxes have played so far. And here come Chelsea.
Yeah, Moses with it on the right hand side, inside to N'Golo Kante, out wide for Moses again. Fabregas goes on the run further forward, just stays on side, keeps the ball in play wide on the Chelsea right, but he's had to go backwards again, and Bakayoko then drops out of the attacking positions and plays it back to the now captain Azpilicueta, forward by Kante again. They try and find Fabregas on the right hand side. Leicester slam the door in the face, but Chelsea have possession back, although Morata's flick is away from Fabregas, and Maguire says, well, just let that one run out of play, no need to try and take possession deep inside his own half of the field. Let's give his defenders a little bit of a breather. In fact, he just drops the ball on the floor by the corner flag rather than giving it back to Chilwell. It will be Chilwell to take the throw from deep inside his own half of the field. 5 minutes of the second half gone, still Chelsea 0, Leicester 0. Thrown upfield towards Okazaki. Good flick finds Vardy. Mahrez has gone on the run further forward. Vardy takes it himself though across field, but then a rather poor pass to Amati, who was racing forward down the right hand side, but it was behind the fullback. He gets back possession though and tries a 1-2 with Mahrez. Bakayoko gets the challenge in, and it will be out of play for a throw in. Just about level with the edge of the penalty area by the time it's taken. Marty thinks about it, then he decides to roll his socks up, have a quick look around, wait a moment or two before he finds Mahrez again. He tries to play it back to Amati, who somehow finds Okazaki. A little bit of interplay, but all rather messy from Leicester, but they manage to keep possession, although they have to go backwards towards halfway, and Maguire, who recycles it out to Chilwell on the left hand side. Chelsea have got their defensive line set, so Leicester will have to probe for an opening out wide as Albrighton gets inside. He plays a ball which flicks off the referee, spins up in the air. Chelsea eventually clear it away with Azpilicueta from the edge of his own penalty area. Bakayoko goes up for the header, it hits him on the back of the head and flies straight out of play, and well, that was a mess really from both sides in the end.
It was a bit. Chelsea trying to get close to the ball, aren't they? They all drifting one side to the other. You know, but when they get the press on that right hand side, it still seems like Mahrez comes up and out with the ball somehow, and you know, and on the other side it tends to be that Fabregas is waiting. But you know, when Leicester use that ball quickly as they did through Maguire, then you've got 2 against 2, but one of those defenders is Fabregas, and you just think, well, that's stacked wrongly for them. They're an accident waiting to happen, aren't they, Chelsea? You just get the feeling that they're going to concede at some point today.
It'll be a free kick again to Leicester midway inside the Chelsea half after the challenge on Matty James. It's too far out, you would think, for any kind of strike at goal. Mahrez and Albrighton stand over it for the moment as Courtois patrols the edge of his 6-yard box looking for that little dink over the top of the defence. The defensive line set on the edge of the penalty as Albrighton chips it in. It was the right ball as well. It was just overhit in the end. Didn't quite see who'd made the run down the left hand side. Might have been Maguire who'd got behind the defence with nobody tracking him back. And it was too far. It was Dragovic actually, wasn't it, who's Maguire had stopped on the edge of the penalty area. Chelsea again try and play out from the back, but Leicester straight in their faces and win back possession with Albrighton. Chilwell plays it inside. Okazaki tries to flick it over the top. Rudiger is there to clear inside the penalty area, but Leicester immediately win back possession with Ndidi. Inside this time towards James. Chelsea with plenty of players behind the ball though, but Leicester keeping possession fairly easily as James then lofts a long one to Amati, who heads it down the line for Mahrez. Tries to flick it back inside. Rudiger is there again though to head it out of play for a throw in to Leicester midway inside the Chelsea half. Thrown by Mahrez towards Ndidi, who has to react rather quickly to it. Can't get the ball across, and Leicester again though win back possession almost straight away. The ball just coming straight back at Chelsea every time as Albrighton has possession again for Leicester. Finds Ndidi, thinks about a long ball towards Mahrez and then rather puts the ball in between Mahrez and Amati. The fullback manages to get to it though and keep the ball in play for the Foxes. At the moment it's Leicester totally dominating the possession. Chelsea almost unable to get out of their own half in this second period. And Leicester, for a side that want to play on the break, particularly away from home, they are the team in control of the ball at the moment, even though they're not really creating chances, John.
No, they're not, but it's impressive, isn't it? I tell you, he's having a good game today, isn't he, Maguire? You know, really good footballer. Hadn't had that much defending to do, but has stepped up. Clearly, he and Dragovic want to make sure that they're dealing with Morata. And so far, Eden Hazard has not done anything particularly special. I mean, it would seem like the wrong thing to say somehow, but I think I'd be taking Hazard off and putting on either of Willian or Pedro. And like you said, maybe somebody out in the middle of the park as well. Bakayoko's worked hard, but you want players going forward, and here come Leicester again into the box. Oh, Vardy very nearly, well, he beats the first man. Christensen lays it back for Riyad Mahrez. He wriggles through as he brought down. The referee saying no. he jumps on the ground there. Christensen's having a word, but I don't think that he was diving in any sense there. He was travelling at a rate of knots and he cut. Was there any contact? Well, there was, but I don't think that it was enough to call it a penalty kick. What do you think?
Well, Christensen stops, doesn't he, inside the box. I suppose his argument will be he kind of drops onto his knees, almost like a fielder just picking up the ball on the boundary, isn't he? As he puts the knee down onto the floor, he will say that he stopped and Mahrez went over the top of him. Mahrez will say that he fouled me. Well, you know, Mahrez could have gone round him, there's absolutely no question of that, but he sees the player down in the penalty area and goes over him. Christensen has stopped moving, though, and has stopped moving a long way in front of Mahrez, so it's... I think the referee's got that one right. I think Mahrez is a case. It's not a dive per se, but he could have gone round him.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's got to get his card out now. Kante just pulled back a shirt there of a player who got round. Again, good refereeing. I thought spot on. I mean, I agree with you there. You know, we're just looking at Okazaki being pulled back by Kante. It's obvious.
We can't keep agreeing, Hubbs. This is not going to happen for the rest of... This is your new 2018, isn't it? I can tell. We've got to stop this agreeing.
Yeah, it's all wrong, isn't it? I feel wrong in me body. Anyway, here comes Vardy again, making a nuisance in the box. He's able to wriggle and turn, and boy, oh boy, they're running Chelsea ragged today, aren't they?
Yeah, here comes Mahrez again, wide on the right hand side. He'll step across, he'll get room for a shot. He gets in,
Whoa!
It's deflected and it's inches wide. Courtois was totally stranded. He dove across for the ball coming to his right hand side. I think it's Christensen again that is involved as it hits him inside the box. It is, hits his ankle and flashes past the post. I say Courtois had already gone, he'd gone out. The front door was left open, but it bounced just wide.
They're so sluggish out there. I mean, it all started with Jamie Vardy picking a pocket. Here we go. Fabregas off and Eden Hazard off for Willian and Pedro. And for me, that's the right changes. You know, could have been back at Yoko, and well, yeah, I think they just need some fresh legs out there, and that's exactly what they've got now.
No goals in the second half so far, so we remain at 0-0, but Leicester again having opportunities. Vardy making a good run into the box to find Mahrez, couldn't quite get a shot in, but then he sort of went over the top of Christensen, who stopped in front of him and left a leg trailing, but the referee Mike Jones waved away the protest for a penalty. And then Mahrez again finding space on the edge of the box, getting a shot in, but it was deflected off Christensen with Courtois stranded. It bounced just past his left hand upright. Chelsea have made a couple of changes, so that's all three subs used. Pedro and Willian on, Hazard and Fabregas off. Still 0-0 though.
So yeah, points to note before we go blindly backing Belgium in the World Cup in England's group. Make sure that they've rested up Eden Hazard, who doesn't look he's either unfit or unable to play 2 games in quick succession and be sharp. He didn't have a good game. He didn't necessarily play well in midweek either, though. They're maybe just blunted by the games coming in quick succession, maybe carrying an injury, but for whatever reason, he is gone. And that was a good move by the manager. You know, you can't throw away your opportunities just because your star man's having an off day. And he brings on 2 very good subs, doesn't he, Pedro and Willian. But that's a credit to Leicester because they forced that change.
A couple of goals elsewhere. West Ham have now gone 3-1 up at Huddersfield. Manuel Lanzini has scored for the Hammers. I think I saw, West Brom 2-0 up against Brighton as well. Craig Dawson, not surprisingly, with a header. West Brom 2, Brighton 0.
Yeah, so important goals there at the wrong end of the table, aren't they? And I think Huddersfield Town will be in free fall. I've seen them recently, and it was a game they targeted, having taken a beating, I think maybe off Chelsea, sat back and done nothing. Then in a game that they wanted to go and win, they lost terribly, like 3-0, something like that. I just thought he's had it. I thought that set the tone. I see them going down, Huddersfield Town, this season, and things aren't still terrible for them quite yet, but I think it won't be long. So, you know, the natural order of the Premier League, and teams who do well before Christmas all of a sudden find that it catches up with them. And here for Chelsea, I mean, a lot of games in quick succession seem to have robbed them of any vim and vigour. But a lot's to do with the manager. You've got to understand when your team is below par, make those changes, start with a fresh lineup. You know, when you've got the likes of Pedro and Willian, you know, I think you've got to start them in a game. Never mind Hazard again, even though he didn't play well in midweek, you know, and he's maybe learnt his lesson today.
Yes, the referee, I think, is pulling out a yellow card out of the pocket. Just trying to see if the Leicester player has gone. It's Okazaki who was tracking back, just held back the Chelsea man. So another player, third one of the day, goes into the book. Okazaki on Willian. Dragged him to the floor, although I'm not sure it was that bad a foul on the basis that indeed he was coming in as well for a challenge.
He wasn't. He tangled with him, didn't he? But it wasn't as obvious as the card that was given against him by Kante for a pullback on Okazaki. It is Okazaki who now breaks, and here come Leicester again.
Yeah, ball forward to Okazaki, but this time he has to turn back towards his own goal. The ball is worked upfield. Indeed, he does well to hold off Kante. Has to chip it over the top for Vardy, who does win his header in front of Rudiger, but Mahrez had dropped back a few yards away from the England international. So he couldn't angle his header towards him and find any space around the penalty areas. So off come Chelsea with Pedro deep inside his own half. Watford 1, Southampton 2. Andre Gray with one back for the home side as Morata picks up possession here. Tries to force it down the left hand side for Alonso, who gets there in front of Amati, but he's down towards the corner flag. Alonso waiting for help. It's slow to arrive in the end. He forced it inside towards Pedro, who gets a shot in. It's blocked. Almost comes back to Pedro, but he was off balance. Couldn't keep possession, and the ball's cleared away upfield as Rudiger runs straight into the back of Mahrez and gives away a free kick.
Hairbrained challenge, wasn't it? I think what surprised me there was the surprise on Rudiger's face when the referee gave a free kick. Already, you know, we're seeing with Willian and Pedro they're sort of turning a half chance into a shot. That, you know, they're a bit more desperate to do well, these guys. You know, I think the game has changed. Leicester's still creating, and I still think they've got an opportunity because they're in the game, aren't they, at 0-0. But I fancy Chelsea that little bit more now. You know, they would have been odds on, weren't they, before kick-off. I still think the game now is a pretty even one, which, you know, says a lot for how well Leicester have played. But for me, maybe Leicester should have taken one of their earlier chances. You know, ooh, that's a big goal, isn't it? Newcastle 0, Swansea 1, and Jordan Ayew has scored.
Not an excessive reaction by Mr Hogan there to that one. A collector's item of a Swansea goal that puts their side in front. Still waiting for a goal in our game. Chelsea 0, Leicester 0 as Willian picks up possession. He's brought down by Chilwell this time as Willian tries to come across. It'll be a free kick. Mike Jones immediately over. Surely not a yellow card for that.
No.
Now I'm starting to disagree with the referee. Normal service is being resumed here.
Yeah, it's right. You know, he tried to get the ball. Willian had toe poked it ahead of him, and if there was a little attempted flick there, it wasn't much. I just thought maybe there. I mean, it wasn't a good challenge by Chilwell. When we look again at that little flick of the foot, I think maybe Mike Jones suckered into that to some degree, but yeah, it wasn't necessarily a fair card that. But I can understand now why the referee did it.
Yeah, it's a free kick definite. Borderline yellow card as the free kick is set up and about 5 or 6 yards away from the corner of the penalty area on the Chelsea right. Willian over it, whips it in right footed, too high though surely, although Schmeichel makes a bit of a hash of it that time, doesn't really get possession, pushes it out. Chelsea win it back with Rudiger, who's trying to get the corner, and he does in the end. Poor goalkeeping for Schmeichel, not something we say too often. Could have let that go, could have caught it, anything he wanted, just pushed it away.
Anything rather than do what he did, which was just flick it back into open play and present Chelsea with a half chance. Then he's backpedaling like crazy because he's out of his goal. Yeah, just didn't deal with that. Now it's a corner kick.
Yeah, strange one as Chelsea have their 4th corner of the game, whipped in towards the near post. Poor ball by Willian, easily hooked away by James, but it'll be picked up again by Chelsea, who have the opportunity to get the ball into the box. Instead they play a square ball behind everybody really. In the end Moses has to go scampering back to keep the ball in play. Does find Christiansen though, who tries to angle a pass onto the right hand side towards Willian, and Marty was there first to head it away. It's now Huddersfield 1, West Ham 4. Manuel Lanzini has scored the 4th for West Ham, his 2nd of the game if memory serves. The ball is on halfway with Chelsea, and we'll start things off with Aspilicueta down the right hand side for Moses. Gets round the back of Albrighton, but comes up against Chilwell, has to step back inside the Nigerian, looking for options, flicks it towards Willian, who's heading down towards the corner flag. Rights himself back towards goal, then a little flick inside for Moses just inside the penalty area. Albrighton can't challenge, but in the end it's enough to put Moses off. He was sort of snapping at his heels without wanting to put a tackle in there, Albrighton, but he got away with it. Moses' shot flies well wide of the post. Yeah, exactly right. Beautifully described, and you know, like a terrier at your heels, but it shouldn't put you off then. If you're going to have a drive. Pull your foot right back. I thought he was tentative doing that. And in doing that, Moses lost his opportunity to get a shot on target. So, yeah, he stuck on in there, didn't he, Albrighton? On clearance downfield, this time by Schmeichel. It might fall for Okazaki after a bit of pinball inside the Chelsea half. And Okazaki does well to hold off Chelsea players. Finds Chilwell. Worked back to Albrighton. That's better from Chelsea. Good pressure from them, forcing Leicester back towards halfway. Something we saw from the visitors quite frequently in the first half. Chelsea seem to have worked out that a bit of pressure on Leicester might help in this second period as the ball's cleared away by Courtois. Headed away by Chilwell. Flicked on by James, but Chelsea will win back possession on halfway with Kante. Then it's forward towards Morata, who flops to the ground under the challenge of Maguire. Referee shakes his head. Leicester break away with Mahrez. He's blocked out of it though for the moment. Then he gets a tap on the ankles, and that will be a free kick to Leicester inside the Chelsea half left hand side. Yeah, Leicester still doing well enough in this game, aren't they? And creating a little bit. You know, Chelsea working double hard. What's a bad day at the office doesn't get any worse, but Maguire having a good day against Morata, and he won that ball cleanly off him that has set Leicester on their way again. Mahrez whips across into the box after a short free kick, but it's cleared away by Chelsea. An opportunity maybe to break. Pedro just can't quite take it in his run in his stride, and the challengers come in on him before he can get away. Half-heartedly appeals for a free kick, but referee not in the slightest bit interested as the ball worked by Leicester across field towards Amati on the right hand side, finds Mahrez in a central position up towards Okazaki, who keeps it away from Kante, but then as he tries to force it into the path of Albrighton, it spins off a Chelsea defender and heads out of back towards Courtois. Good opportunity just to round up where we're at, and then John will take you through towards the half full-time whistle, I should say. We'll pause for a moment though as Chelsea come forward with Pedro. This is not a great ball by Pedro. Moses and Chilwell go in for it, and the referee is going to give a free kick here against Chilwell. That's going to be a second yellow, and that's the end of Chilwell's afternoon.
Well, there you go. Game turns on that. That's the pivot point. Chilwell going in. He's on a yellow card, which we thought was very harsh. His second challenge, and Moses going down like a sack of spuds, and you just thought, well, here we go. You know, if he had been caught by a late stray boot with studs showing there, then it's a yellow card. But I think the first one was the one that was dubious. It doesn't change anything. It's a red for Chilwell. He's off.
Could be a very important moment in this game. Ben Chilwell has been sent off for a second yellow card. They both came within a few minutes of each other. The first one perhaps a little harsh as Willian, the Chelsea substitute, came down the right. He cut inside. Chilwell got across. Did foul the Chelsea man, no question. It was a free kick, but the referee Mike Jones decided it should also be a yellow card. And then a few moments later, a long ball forward by Chelsea. Moses and Chilwell both dived in for it. Chilwell just got there second, maybe just caught Moses on the shin. The referee decided that was enough for a yellow card, and a second one meaning a red. Still 0-0, but Leicester 10 men.
Yeah, I felt the first one was the dodgy one, really. He could have let him off with that with a bit of contact, but the second one's a no-brainer. He's off the ground, Chilwell. Why is he off the ground? I'm thinking to myself, it's not a ball that he's going to win. You know, neither of them actually win the ball. You know, the ball bounces and it's away, but the fact is that Chilwell's come across, he's off the ground, and then he's into Moses. I mean, it is a yellow card, so as much as I'm, you know, doubtful about whether his first, offence should have been a yellow card, the second one certainly was, and he knew he was going to get sent off. So why didn't he jockey? You know, why did he fully commit to that? I think it's a harebrained decision, just a rash decision, and there you go. His teammates now are going to pay the price for that, because now surely Chelsea go on and at least dominate the game. I thought 3 points were on the cards for Leicester, never mind one. Now they'll do well to get a point out of this.
As Chelsea come forward down the left hand side, here's Pedro, corner of the penalty area, plays it back to Bakayoko, but James hacks the ball downfield, and as he does so, we'll hand over to John to take you through to that full-time whistle.
Such a shame for the game. I don't think the referee made the wrong decision there at all. You know, I just think that Chilwell was such a harebrained decision. We see Vardy now is in the left back slot, and that's what's robbed Leicester of their opportunity there. You know, maybe they're going to have to make a sacrifice. For me, I'd probably be taking Okazaki off and cover that left back slot if they need to. Vardy's in there at the minute, but it's Willian who picks the ball up. Little heel from him. Okazaki is fighting away, but he loses out in the middle of the park there. Ball breaks to Rudiger, and so it's Chelsea now on the front foot for the first time in the game. A real concerted effort from the men in the blue shirts. They've been pretty terrible for 70 minutes, and they've been absolutely bailed out and given a lifeline. Talking about lifeline, Newcastle 1, Swansea 1, and I don't know about super sub, but Josselu's not got too many goals, has he? Is